Hello, today we will be showing you how to build an igloo, Eskimo style.
And we should know we've done it once. We're experts now. The only things you really need are lots of snow, the kind that's good for making snowballs, the kind that sticks to itself. Also, some standard size dish bins like this Tupperware type dish bin you see in the picture. We had 3 of them, and that helped for everybody to make snow bricks. Uh, Friends and family to help. We had 4 of us doing this. A saw or a bread knife, and a pole comes in handy, like a piece of rebar or probably a thin wooden pole would be fine too.
First, we will show you a 2-minute time lapse of our build. Then, we will show you step-by-step instructions of how to build it.
Well, here we are building it. We've already laid the first row, and now we're kind of shaving down the first row to nothing on one block there. That way you can lay it up on an inclined plane with some minor variations going up all the way, spiraling up and up and up. There's a lintel there for a door that little piece of 1x3. As you get farther up, it starts inclining, and the shape of the Tupperware containers really helps with that because they're kind of angled as on the sides. And it's just a perfect angle for making an 8-foot diameter igloo. We'll go into all the specific techniques after this quick video. It gets harder and harder to hand the bricks in from the outside as it gets higher, so then you have to work more from the inside. But you always have to have at least somebody on the inside to kind of patch and build up and kind of glue things from the inside too. The door made it really handy to hand the fresh snow that we used as glue. The top we used a little bit lighter bricks on the top, a little bit thinner. We made the bricks a bit thinner and also smaller sizes near the top. We did the last little bit that we did. We used a bin full of snow as a kind of a counter pressure, and then filled it in from the bottom with loose snow. Now it's starting to get dark, and we're just making the archway now. We pause a bit here to help a neighbor get her car out of the snow, but then but we're just done right now. Well, there we are, the finished product. It took us like maybe 4 hours of work. What do you think?
Yeah, probably 4 hours.
And it's room enough in there for 4. In fact, we had dinner in there. We'll show you later. But before we have dinner, let's show you the techniques. Here's one of the Tupperware bins, and we're filling it with snow. Again, it has to be like good snowball snow that sticks to each other well. If you got like really cold, powdery snow that's not sticking to itself, this is not going to work. You pack the snow pretty firmly into those Tupperware bins, and they
make the perfect shape for the blocks.
They just make the perfect shape because they're angled on the sides. And so then what you do is you unpack it and you stack it into
A
this
Stonehenge-like thing.
I guess you could call it Snowhenge. Yeah. I kind of played with those Tupperware bins, and it seemed to me that about an 8-foot diameter circle would work well with the way that the sides are angled on those bins. And so what I had this 4-foot long metal ruler here, but you could use anything like a 4-foot long rope or something, from a pole in the middle to just basically measure out a circle and then just lay the bricks bit one by one. It took about probably 24 or 25 bricks to make a full circle. The we then sawed them, picked one brick to keep basically intact, and then slowly saw them down so that they go down to nothing as they meet the first brick that you left. Just do this gradually because you don't want to oversaw one of them, although you could just fix it with some fresh snow and pack it if you go too low. But basically, just do a little bit at a time until you get a nice incline going all the way down to nothing. So the idea here is to have an inclined plane going exactly one layer up as it does the whole circle. This way, we add new bricks from the ground there, and it'll go upward in a spiral the whole way, all the way to the top. One thing you don't want to do is line up the vertical lines between the blocks too much. Otherwise, the structure is going to be weak. So what can you do about that?
You can cut one of the bricks, cut a third off, so then they don't line up, and it will make it a bit stronger.
Yeah, and as you're going around, the circle gets shorter and shorter and shorter, so sometimes they will line up and you can do this, but you don't need to worry about it too much, especially as you get closer to the top. Well, now, did we invent the lintel, or did the ancient Greeks, or did the Eskimos, Dean? What do you think?
I think Eskimos.
I think we did it.
We did?
Yeah, yeah. You see this 1x3 piece of wood here? We figured it'd be much nicer to have a door here. Some videos tell you that you only can cut the door out after you've made the whole structure. Baloney. Just use a little stick or whatever you have available there, something a little bit wide, and use it as a lintel to make a door there. You can kind of wedge it in there, or you can kind of slice a little bit off the blocks on the side to make it flush, to make it flat with the snow level on that row.
But also, it will get a bit small, so if you want a bit wider door, then you can find a bigger lintel.
Yeah, you can actually carve some of the snow blocks off of the sides to make a wider door. You don't have to remove just one snow block. You can remove a little bit from the sides of the other snow blocks too there and make a wider door, more comfortable to get in and out.
Once you put the lintel down, you can keep putting snow blocks over it like all the other snow blocks that you put over the other snow blocks.
Yeah, they just add snow blocks on top of snow blocks. And you can kind of hide the lintel with just packing some snow under there. It just sticks it and hides it so you don't have to look at it. As you get a bit higher up, right now working on the fourth level, it looks like, and as you're angling in, then you have to the straight square blocks don't fit as well, and so you have to kind of pack a little bit of an angle of fresh snow there for kind of more glue in the corners. You get these gaps in the corners there, the bottom corners of each new one that you lay.
And it's kind of like a triangle.
It's kind of like a triangle. So you just start putting some gap stuff, filler there in advance, and it acts as kind of like glue too. It's really taken shape now. It feels like being in a giant snail shell. And it's kind of nice as you go up to kind of even out the surface to get ready for the next layer that'll be going on top of that pretty soon. It's nice to have an inside man and outside people too helping out. It takes people working on both sides. And you see in this picture, we put some fresh snow, lots of fresh snow, like mortar around the edges where the new block is going to go. And that really makes it stick there really nicely. You have to, when you put a new block in, you need to kind of shove it a little bit in there against the block under it and the block to the side of it. That'll help the snow, the fresh snow, glue it into place.
But you need to shove it just the right amount so the block doesn't break.
From the inside person can kind of glue it or mortar it with the fresh snow from the inside.
and cover up the gaps in the inside
Cover
too.
up all the gaps, and it's nice to have some of those Tupperware bins to kind of ferry the fresh glue um, into the igloo through the door. As you're building up, if there's any low areas, then kind of put some fresh snow there and just kind of pack it in, and then kind of even it out to get ready for the next layer. Here you can see a picture of fresh snow being ferried in through the door. And also, when it gets higher and near the middle, you have to really start laying the bricks from the inside because you just can't reach from the outside anymore.
Unless you're really tall.
Here you can see a really good angle. That stuff really sticks like super glue really quickly too. The fresh snow really bonds that new brick in there so it doesn't fall down. We didn't have a single brick fall down building this whole thing, did we, Dean?
No.
Not at all. There it's getting a little bit too cramped to work standing up, so you have to duck down after a while to finish up. Well, here are some of the last bits at the top. In this picture, you see a snowpack man at the top of the igloo from the inside, and then a little bit of the door on the bottom there. As you get near the top, it turns into a circle, and so we started cutting out triangles, and we also started making the bricks out of a bit thinner pack, just to make them lighter. Maybe that wasn't really necessary, but it just seemed like it would be easier and stay up there better. But we found that it really wasn't any problem to glue the things up there. In this picture, it's down to a half moon now, and then in the next picture here, it's just down to a little triangle. That was the hard part. So what we did was we took one of those dish bins full of snow and put it on top of the igloo. Why did we do that, Dean?
To give some counter pressure. So then after we got the counter pressure, we just stuffed a bunch of glue into the triangle, and it worked.
Yeah, just stuff a bunch of soft snow up in there, up against the dish bin up above, and that worked fine. Well, here's the work crew, and ready for survival in the wild woods in the winter, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. But anyway, if we want to use this and we want to make it a little bit warmer inside, putting a blanket on the door can certainly help. Well, we decided maybe just to have dinner in there. We put a tarp on the bottom
and keep the wetness out.
Keep the wetness out, and we put a blanket on top of the tarp, big enough for 4 of us to sit on, and
to make it a bit comfy.
That made it some comfy. We even took our shoes off, and yeah. We put candles on 2 sides, not too close to the wall, but not too far either, probably less than a foot. And brought in some nice things from home here. One thing is we left our shoes at the door.
Like a regular house.
Like a regular house, and we put another blanket on the door there, sort of a dark blanket you can see there. So we decided to do some cooking inside for dinner, and so with a propane stove. So for carbon monoxide, I made a small hole in the top as kind of a chimney, and of course, a little bit of air can get in through the doorway too. But when we boiled our seal blubber, it got really foggy inside. Of course, we could still see. This is just the camera was having a real hard time seeing, but we could still see. But it got nice and foggy inside when there was boiling water. But after cooking, that all dissipated pretty quickly.
We had a lot of yummy ramen.
Yeah, actually, we ate ramen, not seal blubber. Was the seal blubber good? Seal blubber ramen. That's what we ate, right?
Yeah, totally.
And Yeah, but anyway, it was a good time, and it was comfortable with 4 people. 3 regular-sized people and 1 midget. Here we are having a good time here.
And we turned up the propane stove, and then we noticed that the sides were starting to drip, so
Yeah,
we
so
turned it down, and then we looked up at the hole, and then there were 3 holes.
so we had the stove on kind of high for warmth for a while, and it was getting pretty toasty in there. But so then we turned the stove down kind of lower, and that kept the melt down a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, the holes in the top really weren't too bad, and we could have easily plugged it or packed it with more snow. But we heard in the weather prediction that the temperature was going to go up to 35 overnight, and it was going to rain. So we kind of canceled the sleeping plans. And it's probably a good thing we did because 2 days later, this is what was left. Do you want to sleep in there?
I don't think so.
That was a pretty tearful day. You can see that a kid is really destroyed by the destruction of the melting igloo. It doesn't really snow much in our neck of the city here. And so, if you'd like to learn more about building igloos, then please do not subscribe because we will probably never, ever do this again. But we might do other interesting things. Anything to add?
Nah.
Bye-bye.